Good morning, everyone. I will be discussing the continuation of the Philippine Constitution. The 1935 Philippine Constitution is okay. This constitution was written in 1934 with the goal of meeting the United States expectation of political maturity among the Philippine leaders so that a full and real independence could be granted by the U.S. So this constitution is likely referring to the 1935 Philippine Constitution. So it was drafted and enacted during the Commonwealth era, a transitional period of the Philippines gained full independence from the United States in the 1946. Next, please. So the Third Republic started with the granting of Philippine independence from U.S. domination in July 1946 for Rome administration, Serrano administration, Saysay administration, Garcia administration, Macapagal administration. So this kind of administration commenced with the granting of Philippine independence from the United States domination in July 1946. So this period of Philippine history is characterized by the country's status as a sovereign nation after years of colonization and occupation. So this Third Republic saw a series of administration led by different presidents. Next, please. So Rojas administration. So Manuel Rojas became the first president of the Independent Republic of the Philippines. His administration focused on the rebuilding the nation after World War II economic recovery and establishing political stability. So this administration was already tackled by this era, so it was already understandable. So Serrano administration in 1948 to 1963, Elpidio Quirino succeeded Rojas as the president. His term was marked by efforts to address economic challenges, agrarian reform, and social justice programs. However, his administration also faced political turmoil and issues related to corruption. So Magsaysay administration 1953 to 1957. So Ramon Magsaysay became the third president of the Third Republic. He was popular for his effort to combat corruption, improve governance, and address the Balahak Rebellion, a communist insurgency. So his administration focused on reforming the bureaucracy and improving the lives of ordinary Filipinos. Then the third administration is Garcia's administration, 1957 to 1961. So Garcia assumed the presidency after Magsaysay's untimely death. His administration advocated for nationalism and aimed to strengthen the country's economy through policies such as Filipino First policy, which prioritized Filipino business and industries. The last administration is which served by Macapagal, Diosdado Macapagal. So, Diosdado Macapagal served as the president during this period. His administration focused on economic and educational reforms, including the enactment of the Land Reform Law. So he also worked to restore the country's cultural heritage and move the celebration of Philippine Independence Day from July 4 to June 12. So Kaning administration plays a significant role by shaping the political, economic, and social landscape of the Philippines during the Third Republic. So each contributing in its own way to the nation's development and progress. Next. So during the Commonwealth period, the form of government was presidential system with the president serving a 6-year term without re-election. So it also provided for a unicameral national assembly. However, in 1940, an amendment was done establishing the Cameral Congress of the Philippines, composed of the Senate and House of Representatives, as well the creation of an independent electoral commission. Moreover, President's term was changed from 6 years without re-election to a 4-year term with a maximum of 2 consecutive terms in office. So during nga Commonwealth period in the Philippines, which lasted in 1935 to 1946, so the country operated under a presidential system of government. So kaning system, the president served a 6 years term with a possibility of re-election. So additionally, the government was initially structured with a unicameral national assembly, which means there was only one legislative chamber. So, however, in 1940, a significant constitutional amendment was enacted. So this amendment established a bicameral Congress of the Philippines, which consisted of two chambers, which is the Senate and the House of Representatives. So that the introduction of bicameral legislature provided a more balanced and comprehensive approach to lawmaking, allowing in-depth discussions and deliberation in proposed legislation. So furthermore, the amendment also lead to the creation of an independent electoral commission. So this commission was tasked with ensuring fair and transparent election, reinforcing the democratic process in the country. So in addition, to the changes in the legislative structure, the amendment altered the terms limit for the president. So instead of serving a single 6-year, kapag serve or 6-year term, the president was allowed a maximum of the president's term was reduced into 4 years, dapat na lamang ka years. So moreover, the president was allowed a maximum of 2 consecutive terms in office. This change in the terms limit aimed to promote a more dynamic political environment and allow for the possibility of fresh leadership within the country. So kanina constitutional changes during the Commonwealth period lead the foundation for a more robust and democratic political systems in the Philippines, shaping the structure of governance for years to come. Next, please.
Aisa, parang ang ganda ba sa presidential term, 2 years, 4 years na, balik na.
It was 6 years, di ba? Excuse me. Excuse me, Grace. Ang presidential term ba karon is balik na ba? No? Yes, balik na 1960s. So in the Third Republic, the 1935 Constitution was still in operation. The form of government of the Philippines was unitary presidential constitutional republic. So kaning republic, Third Republic of the Philippines, which began with the country's independence in 1946, the 1935 Constitution continued the fundamental law of the land. So during the period, the Philippines operated under a unitary presidential constitution republic system. So kaning form of government is a president serve as serve as both the head of the state and the head of the government, holding significant executive powers. So the country was unitary, meaning it has centralized government where national policies and laws applied uniformly across all the regions. So kanina constitution provided the framework for the country's political structure, defining the rules and responsibilities of the branches of the government and safeguarding the rights and the freedoms of the Filipino people. So next please. So in 1977, a constitutional convention was held to revise the 1935 Constitution. So however, so much corruption marred the process. In 1972, President Ferdinand Marcos proclaimed martial law to suppress the increasing civil strife and the threat of the communist takeover of the government. So the proclamation of the martial law suspended the 1935 Constitution. So, in kaning constitution, in 1971, the Philippines convenes a constitutional convention with the intention of rewriting or revising the existing 1935 constitution. So, however, ang process was marred by widespread corruption, casting a shadow to the legitimacy of the proceedings. So, amidst growing civil unrest and the perceived threat of community takeover, President Ferdinand Marcos declared martial law in 1962. So this declaration was aimed at suppressing the escalating internal strife and maintaining control over the government. So as a consequence of this law, the 1935 Constitution was suspended, granting the government increased authority and allowing Marcos to rule by decree. So effectively concentrating power in hands. So this period of martial law had a profound impact on Philippine politics and society, leading to significant changes in the country's governmental structure and political landscape. Next. So, the preamble of the 1939 Constitution. So this preamble serve as introductory statement that outlines the basic ideals and aspirations of the Filipino people. So it emphasizes the Filipino people's desire for freedom, independence, and self-determination. So kanina preamble expresses the nation's commitment to social justice, peace, and unity, as well as the promotion of the common good. So it reflects the historical context of the Philippines during that time as the country was striving for independence from colonial rule. Now let's jump to the 1943 Constitution. So the 1943 Constitution, the Preparatory Committee for Philippine Independence, or PCPI, promulgated the 1943 Philippine Constitution during the Japanese occupation of the country. So mostly of the members of the PCPI rather, were delegates to the convention that adopted the 1935 Constitution. So the Constitution was ratified by the Popular Convention of the Calibaki in Manila on September 7, 1943. So kaning 1943 Philippine Constitution was promulgated during the Japanese occupation of the country by the Preparatory Committee for Philippine Independence or PCPI. So many members of the PCPI were delegates who had previously participated in drafting the 1935 Constitution. So despite the challenging circumstances of the Japanese occupation, the 1943 Constitution was ratified by the Popular Convention of the Calibaki in Manila on September 7, 1943. So kaning Constitution represented an attempt to establish a legal framework for the Philippines under the Japanese rule. Although it was created under unusual circumstances and did not have the full support or legitimacy of the Filipino people. Next slide, please. So the Second Philippine Republic was single-party authoritarian republic. Jose P. Laurel was appointed as president by the National Assembly and was inaugurated in the office on October 14, 1943, and Benigno Simeon Aquino Sr. was the Speaker of the National Assembly. So kaning political climate, Benigno Simeon the Second Philippine Republic established during the Japanese occupation was a single-party authoritarian republic. So Sir P. Laurel, as stated, was appointed as President by the National Assembly at yung office in the October 14, 1943. So during Sejong presidency, the country was under Japanese control, and Lawrence government served the interests of the Japanese players. So 1943 Constitution was in operation in the Japanese controlled areas of the Philippines from October 14, 1943 to August 17, 1945. So however, the United States and the Commonwealth government, which was exiled, did not recognize the said Constitution. So the 1943 Constitution was in effect in the Japanese controlled areas of the Philippines from October 14 to 1943 to August 17, 1945. So during the period, it served as the legal framework for the Philippines under Japanese occupation. However, it is important to note that neither the United States nor the Commonwealth government in exile recognized this constitution. So wala na siya na-recognize na kaninga constitution. So the lack of recognition from this entire entities highlighting the contentious nature of the 1944 Constitution. So reflecting the complex political circumstances of the time and the challenges faced by the Filipino people during the Japanese occupation. So the preamble of 1943 Constitution. So the meaning of this preamble is this preamble emphasizes the Filipinos' loyalty to the cause of freedom, justice, and democracy. So it underscores their determination to live in a society founded on ideals of liberty, equality, and fraternity. So despite the difficult wartime conditions, the preamble reaffirms the Filipino people's commitment to forming a government that will promote the general welfare and establish a just and humane society rather. Please. So let's jump. The 1937 constitutional rule, the Fourth Philippine Republic from the January 17, 1973 to February 22, 1986. A unicameral legislature was established during this period whose members were elected for 6-year term of office. The president was elected from among the members of National Assembly for a 6-year term and eligible for re-election. The elected president will serve only as your ceremonial head of state. The executive power was exercised by the Prime Minister, who was also elected from amongst the members of the National Assembly. The Prime Minister was the head of the government and the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. Next.
Prime Minister or President? Prime Minister or
Lahat ng Prime Minister. So, 1973 Constitution amended on 4 occasions. The first, the 1976 amendments, the Interim National Assembly was replaced by Interim Batasang Pambansa. The President would also become the Prime Minister and would exercise legislative powers until the lifting of the martial law. So the President can legislate in his own on an emergency basis. The second is the 1980 Amendment. The retirement age of the members of the judiciary was extended to 70 years. Nga nakatasyon siya, nga nakatagayon. So in the 1981 amendments, the false parliamentary system was formally modified into a French-style Senate presidential system where executive power was restored to the president, direct election of the president was restored, an executive committee composed of the prime minister and not more than 14 members was created to assess the president in the exercise of his powers, and the functions of the prime minister was the mere head of the cabinet. So lastly is the 1984 amendment abolished the executive committee and restored the position of the vice president. So the preamble of the 1973 Constitution, we, the sovereign Filipino people, imploring the aid of divine providence in order to establish a government that shall embody our ideals, promote the general welfare, conserve and develop the patrimony of our nation, and secure to ourselves and our posterity the blessings of democracy under a regime of justice, peace, liberty, and equality, to ordain and promulgate this Constitution. So this preamble, So the 1973 Constitution Preamble expresses the aspirations and ideals of the Filipino during that period. So it emphasizes the nation's commitment to building a just and humane society, establishing a government that ensures peace and order, upholds the rules of the law, and promotes the general welfare. So the 19... Next one. Next ba? Sige pa. Sige. Okay.
Ito na. Kana.
So, let's go to the 1986 Freedom Constitution. So, right? I think, malis ako. Sige pa. Okay, the 1986 Freedom Constitution. Next, it is so right after the 1986 People Power Revolution that compelled the President Marcos to step down from power, President Corazon Aquino issued Proclamation No. 3 to serve as a provisional constitution. The proclamation contained some provisions adopted from the 1973 constitutions, powers such as government, reorganization, removal of officials, appointment of the commission to draft a new and more formal constitution, which upon ratification would supplant the Freedom Constitution. So, kato nga, the first 1986 People Power Revolution, President Corazon Aquino issued Proclamation No. 3, serving as a provisional constitution. Constitution. So it incorporated elements from the 1973 Constitution, granting powers for government reorganization, official removals, and appointment of a commission to draft a new constitution. Once ratified, the new constitution will replace the temporary freedom constitution. So muna ni ang time ilahang gipanaog si Marcos sa pagka-president. So the first part of the proclamation number 3. So kaning first part of the proclamation number 3 states that the new government was established directly the Filipino people and the new armed forces, so defying the 1973 Constitution. So kanina proclamation mandates complete government reorganization, restoration of the democracy, protection of rights, eradication of corruption, peace and maintenance, and the transition to a new constitution. So it also emphasizes respecting human rights and fundamental freedoms during the transition period. So lastly is the 1987 Philippine Constitution, which is karon nga constitution nga ato ang ato ang karanay gigamit na ganit karon, which is kung ato ang
Di-follow.
basta kanina natin
Di-follow?
1987 o mana mo na ato ang di-follow karon, which is the freedom na gajutan na freedom. So kanina 1987 Constitution is was crafted by a constitutional assembly mandated in Proclamation number 3. So the assembly consisted of 50 members appointed by President Corazon Aquino, including the former House of Representative members, Supreme Court Justice, a Roman Catholic bishop, and activist to oppose the Marcos regime. So next. Cecilia Muniz Palma. So, Cecilia Muniz Palma was a former Associate Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, was elected by the Commission as its president. So, the final draft of the 1996 Constitution was finished on October 12, 1996, and was presented to President Aquino on October. So, the Constitution was certified on February 8, 1997 through a nationwide TV sites. Okay, the 1987 Constitution operates since 1997 during the administration of Cory Aquino, Fidel Ramos, Joseph Estrada, Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, Benito Aquino, and the current administration of Rodrigo Roa Duterte. So wala na po nag-include nga ng mga pakita mo na research. So, kanina Constitution has been in effect since ratification in 1987. So, it has governed the country through various administrations, starting from Corazon Aquino's presidency from 1886 to 1992, followed by Fidel Ramos, Joseph Estrada, Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, Benigno III, and the current administration of Rodrigo Roa Duterte, which began in 2016 and continues to the President Day Caron. So the Constitution provides the legal framework for the government, outlining the structure of governance, the rights and responsibilities of citizens, and the principles upon which the Philippines operate a democratic nation. So the preamble ng second Constitution reads, so kaning preamble expresses the collective aspirations and the fundamental principles guide the Filipino people and their government. So it emphasizes, this preamble emphasizes the Filipino people's commitment to upbuilding a just and humane society where they can secure the blessings of independent democracy under the rule of the law. So kaning preamble highlights the importance of promoting the common good, ensuring social justice, fostering unity and peace, upholding the dignity of every individual, and protecting the environment. So it also recognizes the role of the Filipino family as the foundation of the nation. So kaning preamble is the freedom ni nato man ni atong gamit karon. I mean, kaning constitution man ni ato ang gamit Kalimut ko term. Basta kanina, basta outang kuan last nga 1987 which is gigamit na nato karon ato ang ikot ba mas.
Gi-follow. Usa man, di na mag-follow.
Kuya ako ang
Gibasihan.
Oh, kana ba mura? Oh, na ba? Mo ni nga kuan.
Okay.
So that's all. Thank you.